The rainy season has come to Lamsenia. Like other villages in this part of Aceh, every structure was washed away in the tsunami. What makes this village different, however, is that NGOs have not rebuilt a single house here in the last year.
We predicted that we'd stay in tents for 5 months. That's the longest time, 5 months. But now, it's almost 1 year, and we're still here.
1 year after the tsunami devastated this province of Indonesia, the slow pace of home construction has frustrated the estimated 70,000 people still living in tents in Aceh. A sign next to Mohammed Jamil's tent sums up the sentiment in Lamsenia.
I feel frustrated. Almost every day, it's the same question. Why are our houses being built so slowly?
To begin to answer that question, you simply need to visit the land where the village once stood. The tsunami and the earthquake that caused it dramatically changed the topography of the coastline here. In Lamsenia, the ground sank about 3 feet. The creek turned into a river, flooding part of the village. The monsoon rains took care of the rest.
It wasn't a swamp like this before. There were houses all over this place. There was even an Islamic boarding school over there. It was crowded, no water before.
Dahri says that fishing is good in his old neighborhood. High tide floods this part of the village with fish. When the tide goes out, the fish become trapped in his nets. British NGO Oxfam had plans to rebuild houses on the land where Dahri now fishes. When the rainy season began, those plans were dropped. Because of the sunken land, Oxfam says no part of Lamsenia is suitable for home construction. Former President Bill Clinton, in his role as United Nations Special Envoy for Tsunami Recovery, toured Aceh last month, where he visited several housing projects. The international organizations that built these projects became flush with cash after receiving a record amount of donations. Most of that money remains unspent. It's a frustrating fact for the people still in tents, like those in Lamsenia.
You're talking about asking people in Aceh to just to build houses on a magnitude that they had never even dreamed of before. And you can say, well, we've got all these people here, we've got all this money here, why can't we just do it? But it's not that simple, I think.
The example of Lamsenia illustrates why it is not so simple. After Oxfam gave up its plans to rebuild the village in its original location, they shifted their plans to this place, the nearest high ground. Residents had already moved their tents to escape the rising waters. Now Oxfam and the United Nations are staking out this land to build 108 houses here. But these plans were a long time coming. Another NGO had to purchase the private property, and land titles had to be created. There were problems with members of the Indonesian army, which villagers say demanded bribes. Most importantly, residents had to agree as a community to abandon the old location of the village, a decision that did not happen quickly or unanimously. Bakhtiar bin Baharuddin lost his wife, his 4 children, his 7 siblings, and both parents in the tsunami. The place where his childhood home stood is now part of the river.
That was part of the bathroom over there.
He has since remarried, and the new couple is part of a small contingent still living in the old village. It floods occasionally, but Baharuddin wants the NGOs to rebuild his house here anyway, a decision that could complicate the rebuilding process.
I will never go. I will never move to another place. This is where I want to live. This is my land.
No matter what happens with the permanent house, Baharuddin says he is frustrated to still be in a tent.
We are not just upset. We are crying about that.
And he's not alone. Many people in Aceh believe that there was too much significance placed on building labor-intensive permanent housing at the expense of quicker temporary shelters. Stefan German of World Vision believes this emphasis left too many people in tents.
But because of various pressures, you know, within the government, but as well within NGOs, headquarters that we should focus on permanent housing, there was kind of a shift happening in management focus and emphasis, which resulted that, today we still have a number of people in tents.
Back in Lamsenia, the days of living in tents are finally numbered. World Vision has begun building temporary shelters, or barracks as they are known here. It's part of an increased effort by international organizations and the Indonesian government to move people out of tents. The government says everyone in Aceh will be out of tents by spring.
Living in tents will make you go crazy. You can't just think clearly. If you stay in a house, you'll be comfortable and safe.
The permanent houses Oxfam and the UN are building here will not be ready until next summer at the earliest. Although crowded and noisy, the barracks will at least provide better shelter from the rain for the 189 people of Lamsenia.